political genius Dave Rubin is going to break down for us what he hopes the Democratic Party will do come 2020, or what he wishes. My understanding is he really doesn't envision any way of this actually occurring, but it is what he wishes would occur nonetheless. And this isn't something new. It's definitely something that we've seen from Dave Rubin. I don't know whether or not he's a liberal or if he's not a liberal. Like, I'm still confused as to which one it is now, because for a while there he was trying to be like the last liberal to cash in on that. And then, it's also like, oh, I left the left. So it's like, okay, you left the left, but you're still liberal. Which one is it? Because those two don't really coincide. You're kind of either one or the other. And I don't know which one he is at this point. I really don't. But he's given really stupid political analysis and advice in the past. It's something that he commonly does because he's not too bright of a person. But he believes that the left has gone off the rails. He believes that the left has gone super crazy. It's full of a bunch of radicals. We've seen him call progressivism a mental disorder. And we're about to watch him give a breakdown of the 2020 election, what he thinks the Democrats need to do. And he's also going to continue to talk about and emphasize that, the progressives have just gone off the rails.
Okay. Good luck, brother. Oh, I just did that one. Dave, good luck with all the avenues you're pursuing in 2019. What are your predictions for Democratic candidates in 2020? Will they fracture similar to the Republicans in 2016, or will the establishment back one candidate? I'm a little hesitant to say this because I'm so frustrated with what's happening on the left and the Democrats and the progressives that I don't want to tip them off to what I think is going to happen. But this is just between me and you. I think it's going to be a freaking bloodbath. I think that between Elizabeth Warren, let's say Bernie, now they've got Tulsi Gabbard, there'll be a couple others on the progressive side. They'll throw, maybe a Cory Booker. They'll throw in someone who's a little more mainstream. I don't know exactly who that is because there aren't really mainstream. There aren't really blue dog, more centrist Democrats anymore. Say a guy like Jim Webb, who was in one debate last time and he looked like he was on the wrong stage. Those people don't really exist. So what I think you're going to happen is a further splintering of the progressive thing. And the Kamala Harris people, let's say, are going to call the Bernie supporters racist because he's white. And they're going to call them this because they're this. And, and also you're seeing these people try to pretend that they're human. I mean, you guys saw that video where Elizabeth Warren drank the beer with her husband and he just happened to be standing there, and they try to pretend that they're normal average people. Or Kamala Harris did the video with the music that she likes and they're just robots. It's like Trump standing in the White House surrounded by 10,000 burgers is more of a human than what these people are. So in a weird way, as much as I would love, and I want to be clear about this, as much as I would love for a decent Democrat to return, a good liberal, a JFK liberal, a Daniel Patrick Moynihan, an Ed Koch, an old school liberal, to return from the ashes of this lunacy, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that person, I don't know where the hell that person is. It doesn't seem to me that anyone can tell me who that person is. Even that person, who would that be? Maybe that's a Joe Biden of 20 years ago who was more of a mainstream Democrat. But if the future of the Democrats is Joe Biden, who's what, 72, 74, something like that, then they're in a lot of trouble anyway. And that is not to say anything about the Republicans. I'm happy to answer questions about the Republicans if you got them. But yes, let's see. Okay.
So if you don't know what a blue dog Democrat is, a blue dog Democrat is literally just conservative Democrats. So an example of a blue dog Democrat, I believe Michael Bennet, the guy who went off on Ted Cruz, he's, I believe, a blue dog Democrat, which just means a conservative Democrat. So you're basically a dino, kind of. That's sort of what you are. You're a conservative, but you're a Democrat. These are old school Democrats. This is a group that's sort of old school, but it still kind of has its remnants, and Michael Bennet is sort of one of them. And that's kind of what made him going off on Ted Cruz all the more significant, because the guy's somebody who tries to have bipartisanship at all costs, because that's kind of his, his wheelhouse. That's kind of his lane. That's his ideology. And so that's what made it even more significant. Blue Dog Democrat is essentially what Hillary Clinton was. Now, I don't know which way you could call Hillary Clinton. You could say, I usually say barely left of center. Some people say she's just flat out right wing, or that she's, on the right. I don't think she's Republican. I think she's barely, extremely, extremely barely left of, like really barely left of center, because she's not in agreement with the Republicans and the conservatives in terms of, different social issues, despite her horrific past on those social issues. And she's not, in agreement with Republicans on something like repealing Obamacare. So I just have to say that she's, barely by a little margin left of center, not Republican, because she doesn't agree with the Republicans who say that, we should repeal Obamacare, repeal the Affordable Care Act, which would result in just really catastrophic healthcare results for the nation. So what I fail to understand about this, and we've seen this talking point from a lot of people, like we just saw with Sam Harris, that he said on Joe Rogan, where he said, oh, the Democrats need a young Bloomberg, which is hilariously dumb, because we essentially tried that. I mean, I didn't want that to happen, but that's what ended up happening, because you had somebody who was barely left of center, and her loss resulted from a lot of it being that she got outflanked to the left by her Republican opponent. So Donald Trump is a very weird phenomenon, and I don't think we're ever going to see, like, once he, let's say he either loses or he is to, get reelected somehow, okay, and he maxes out his 8 years. I don't know if we'll ever see a Republican phenomenon the same way that we have seen this phenomenon of Donald Trump, where you can be insanely terrible towards, Mexicans, and then you get like a higher percentage of their vote than someone like Mitt Romney. It's really a weird thing, and you have a Republican who lies to the people and goes, I want to keep your jobs here. And then you look at Hillary Clinton, and she said the TVP is the gold standard, and she's, her husband passed NAFTA. And, he said that he lied and said, I'm not like these other Republicans. I won't touch your Social Security or Medicare. So he's a really weird phenomenon. But the answer in any way, shape, or form should not be blue dog Democrat. Okay, the answer is not to go more right wing. Going more right wing is what lost us the election in the first place, dude. Like, I don't understand how you can't comprehend that, because it's so basic. And also, the other thing is there's this concept, a very basic concept, of galvanizing your base. And I don't know why that's not something that's employed by the left or the Democratic Party, because it's something that the Republican Party lives by. They live by galvanizing their base. And the Democratic Party does literally the opposite. I mean, they shaft their base at every possible turn in terms of suppressing progressives, shafting progressives at every turn. And it's mind-boggling. I mean, that's another part of this argument that doesn't hold up, because you're talking about, a lot of people say, oh, we need to get the moderate Democrats if you have someone like Bernie Sanders. That's not true, because, first of all, the moderate Democrats were not able to win you with Hillary Clinton, so why would that be the way to go anyways? But what you're missing is, and remember, I think it was Chuck Schumer who said, some top-ranking Democrat or campaign official for Hillary Clinton said, every Bernie-crat supporter we're going to lose will pick up 2 Republican moderates in its place. And they legitimately believed that that's what they were going to do. They were legitimately under the belief that, we're going to pick up this mythical, right-wing moderate, Republican moderate vote, which doesn't exist, by the way. It's another thing that has messed up Democrats in these elections. But this is legitimately the worst political analysis I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't really know what Dave Rubin means, because if you're waiting for someone like a JFK, let's say, why didn't you like Hillary Clinton? She was the most milquetoast candidate I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, talk about status quo, dude. Let's just keep Obamacare in place. He says he supports single payer, but he described Obamacare, so we really don't know what he supports. I mean, it's really still a question mark there. And I don't know how he gets away with things like that, about how he can actually pull off lying about his position and then describing Obamacare, exposing his own lie. It's all over the place. I don't know if he's a classical liberal. I don't know if he's a liberal. but blue dog Democrats suck big time, and I don't know what it is that Dave Rubin, why Dave Rubin has this very odd hard on for blue dog Democrats. I think that it's a cop out for him to pretend he's still liberal, and due to the unlikeliness of a blue dog Democrat ever taking prominence again, it benefits him in his position because he can whine about, oh, we need more blue dog Democrats, and then it's not going to happen, and so he goes, oh, I'm a liberal, but this isn't happening. I think that's what it is, but I cannot fully mark it down.